Engage.
We should probably designate chip time.
Yep.
In case that makes it into the edit, Spencer brought over a gigantic Costco bag of chips. So people have been eating multiple bags. I've had one. Jeff's had a couple. Looks like Daniel's had a couple. Spencer says he's up to 3.
Yep.
So good luck, editor.
Those
Hate mail can be
Not
written,
it.
can be sent to
those crunchy sounds from the depths.
the true horror crunches in the night. So do we think reading the entire scenario before I started is a thing that I should have done?
Meh.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the flavor text.
So, as I mentioned before the podcast started, really have had a hankering to kind of play Call of Cthulhu. We've got a recording slot open. I've talked about this, not to you guys, because I don't think any of you played in the previous one, but I'm a big fan of this Mansions of Madness book. It's a reprint of Chaosium's book from like the 1980s, updated for 7th edition rules. I think it's got one additional mansion that wasn't in it. This is only volume 1. I'm hoping they're going to release more volumes, but it's just like, let's go investigate a spooky house gang. Like, that's all that these scenarios are. So a lot of them are reprints. If you didn't listen to our recording of Cracked and Crooked Manse, that was actually the first Call of Cthulhu game I ever played in high school. It was awesome. We had a good time with it on the podcast. The one I'm running today, I'm not going to give the name away of it to the players, but it is similarly a classic Call of Cthulhu scenario. So it is 1920-something. You can pick your own year if you want. You three gentlemen, if you'd like to go around and introduce yourselves, who you'll be playing, because that's always helpful for the edit so I can remember.
Yeah, I am Sebastian, the oldest of the 3 brothers, and an antique dealer.
My name is John Clark. I am the middle brother at 40, and I am a cowboy.
I am Barney. I'm a minor. I'm the youngin'. I'm 34.
So Daniel gave us the last name of Clark, so I presume that we're Sebastian. What'd you say your name was?
John.
And
Barney.
Good thing it wasn't 5.
So you all were reached out to. Your mother has fallen ill. She's been ill for a while. Chances are she's reaching the end of her life, so you've all come from far-flung areas back to Boston, where your mother has been residing for the last 10, 15 years. Whether you grew up here or not, you can kind of decide that through play, but your mother's been living in a fairly well-to-do suburban neighborhood of Boston. She lives off of Chestnut Street. These would be well-to-do homes, 2, maybe 3-story, pretty good-sized lawns. It is sort of, you're not to the white picket fence era of Americana yet, but it's that feel from the 20s. This is definitely a well-to-do neighborhood.
Cue the jingle tunes.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm thinking actually, if people think of probably at the same time frame, northern Indianapolis had a real boom of like big houses and mansions, like just like 10, 15 blocks north of Indianapolis at that time. Sort of that vibe if you were to connect it to local history for us. So mother by no means a millionaire or anything, but fairly well-to-do. So whatever your father did left her with an incredible sum of money. She's been living as a widower, right? Widower is male.
Widow.
She's been living as a widow for the last, 20, 25 years, taking care of herself, living alone in this house. You three have come into Boston to sort of take care of her as she goes through probably her final days and weeks. The house means a lot to her, so she wants to basically stay at home. So you're sort of keeping up on the house and taking care of final affairs. We'll say it is summertime. It's hot, sticky. Boston in June and July is probably not super pleasant, I would imagine. Anything you want to say before we get started? Any other questions background we want to advise on?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Cool.
Do we receive any other correspondence other than she was just kicked the bucket?
No, you just know that she's not well. And I'm going to go ahead. You guys have already come into town. You're in the house. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One thing I was just kind of playing through in my head that I just want to put on your radar, because I don't know how it's going to affect things for you, or if it's not okay. But just she would probably at this point have an in-home like nurse as well. We're at that point where we're at like a hospice. It's hospice care, right?
You're not at that point yet, but you're probably getting ready to set that up. Okay. Mom has had a relapse, a bad fall, something recently. The doctor's lawyer has reached out and said, "Hey, you guys really need to come see your mom." Right. So you all have arrived in town in the last day or so. You're at the house. You're trying to figure out where you're going to stay, whether or not you're going to stay at the house or a hotel, what Mom wants. Mom's happy to have all her boys under the roof. She's being brought home by the doctors, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of where you're at. So you've kind of settled into the home. Any other establishing facts?
I just, because I'm the oldest brother, I just want to make it very clear that I'll be staying in the largest bedroom. And I'll be playing that card as often as possible.
Because I'm the oldest.
Because I'm the oldest.
Mom said I could have it.
Ah.
I've never gotten to be the youngest, so I'm going to eat this shit up.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. I need Spencer. The other two can fuck off for a little bit.
Oh.
You heard the man. Fuck off.
Chip time.
I'm young. Yeah. Dang it. I wanted to eat my chips. Now I'm jealous.
Well, you're the oldest, so I figured you go first.
Yeah. Is this worthy of a moleskin? Should I be taking notes?
Don't have to.
That's Cody for yes.
Yeah. Fuck off. It's one of those, Jeff, because we always end up...
Oh, we need to read.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Trying to steal Mom's hair.
Let's do... So... Sebastian. Sleeping in an unfamiliar place, worried about your mother, of course. You find you're having trouble getting to sleep in the bedroom. The house feels stuffy. The house is hot. What do you want to do?
Usually when I can't sleep, I just go down, have a drink of water, maybe a nightcap.
Sure. Makes total sense.
So
nightcaps aren't legal at this time in the United States, but that doesn't mean that you don't have some.
Yeah, right. That's for... Sweetie, that's for the poors.
That's right. You're a very well-to-do antiques dealer.
Mm-hmm.
So you go downstairs, get some water from the tap, trying to tiptoe, keep quiet, because the rest of the house does appear to be sleeping. Make me a listen roll for your character.
Mm-hmm. Water everywhere, but not a tens place die.
I can see a tens place die from here. There's one sitting on the crossbeam.
Boop. 75.
The windows are open, probably, I would imagine, because of the heat. Just trying to get any sort of air movement or relief. So you pour yourself a glass of water, and you begin to hear... it's hard to define, but there's a... Well, you get that feeling. You are a husband and dad. You hear a noise, something odd that it triggers that sixth sense, like hair standing up on the back of your neck.
You go to watchdog mode.
Yeah, no, there's definitely it's after midnight easily, and you hear some movement, some rustling outside. It's not near you, but it is unusual. This is a quiet street. You haven't even heard any passing cars really. Can't imagine it's not near any places where like people would be walking to or from. Like everyone you would think would be abed at this point.
Well, I probably live around here. The reason my mother's in this house is partly to do with me. I know where everything is in the house. So I would grab a torch. And when I say torch, I mean flashlight.
We are in the U.S., so you can use flashlight.
Oh, all right.
It is traditionally a British game, but you can use flashlight.
Okay, good. And I'll head towards the front door and turn on the light and just look out the window.
As you turn on the light and look out the window, you don't see anything on the street. The houses are set back a bit from the street, and most of the houses have a pretty decent lawn behind. Everything well kept and manicured here, nice cars, etc. And you can hear in the distance like the sounds of effort, of grunting, of somebody like working in the heat. And you can also hear shuffling and the noise of movement. Seems to be coming.
What could I get a rough sense of distance? Like, is it just past the front porch or the end of the driveway?
No, you're thinking that this is probably across the street neighbor's house kind of a thing.
Okay. I'll open the door and step outside.
As you open the door and kind of step outside, you kind of let it close very softly behind you, again, trying not to disturb anyone. You hear the sound of metal or some other implement striking earth, along with the sort of grunts and pants of labor. Sounds like somebody's digging.
I'll stop. I'll think about it. This is a neighborhood I'm familiar with. I know the neighbors. It's Tom and Stacy or whatever. And like, I know these people. What, but then just something inside of me stops me before I go. And I want to go get the brother I'm familiar with. What's his name?
So before you go any farther, since you do apparently want to establish that you've known that neighborhood, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, no, we can cut that and take it back.
I'm all right with it. That's perfectly fine. You know that directly across the street is a Mr. Bernard Corbitt. To the left of Bernard Corbitt would be Margaret and Philip Sampson.
Oh, wait. So directly across the street is Bernard Corbitt.
Yep.
And then in relation, where are these people?
To the left, so from the front porch to the left is Margaret and Philip Sampson.
In front of me.
Correct. Corbitt is directly across. Sampson is to the left of Corbitt.
Margaret and Philip Sampson.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
And then Thomas Hinckley is to the right.
So
yeah, if you've been around, you would know probably everyone in the neighborhood.
Right. So maybe I don't know how old is what's my vibe on Bernard? Like, how old is he? Is he around my age? Would we
Bernard Corbitt?
Would we gab or?
He's a very friendly guy. Businessman, fairly well-to-do, widower. Known for bringing. Your mother loves him. He's apparently incredibly nice gentleman. Brings over flowers to all the old ladies on the street. Seems to be a big vegetable guy. Apparently he grows fairly exotic, like orchids and stuff. Apparently a big gardening hobby.
Okay, so can we say like we got in later tonight? Like, did we just get in?
Yeah, you've only been in town for a little bit. If you're local, maybe you were at the hospital with your mother and just brought her back today, kind of a thing. Right.
So maybe Bernard travels a lot. So
he does travel a lot. You would know that.
I hear Bernard's back in town, gardening late at night. Odd. Does it sound like it's more than one person?
No, not as far as you can tell. But it does definitely sound like spade or shovel, moving earth, digging, trenching, something to that effect.
God, I just wish there was a vibe check. Because I'm like, as a character in this situation, I'm like, that's odd. I'll check in with Bernard tomorrow. I don't need to walk across the street and talk to Bernard now. That's interesting. Yeah. I'm just trying not to metagame because I'm like, I want to go and see what bodies he's burying. But no, that doesn't make any sense. Check in with Bernard tomorrow. Sure. And I go back inside. I make sure to lock the door, have my routine. I put the flashlight away, and I poured myself a drink yet?
Sure. Yeah, you can have a drink.
And I just sit in is there a great room?
Oh yeah, there's probably a sitting room. It's a
sitting room.
It's a good sized house. Like you probably have 7 or 8 rooms on the first floor. Like it's a good sized house.
Okay.
There's a space you could sit if you wanted to sit and relax.
And I'll sit. Maybe I'll read a book. The newest trades magazine for antique stealers.
Okay.
I need to pick an antiquity that I'm into.
Okay. Swap out with Daniel.
I'll take my chips.
You take your chips. Otherwise, your night passes uneventfully, other than reading your trade magazine and having a drink.
Daniel!
All right. Is there anything left?
Everything's on fire. The walls are melting. A giant goat man with 8 nipples and 3 dongs stands before you.
I just expect like us, Jeff and I, to walk in and like, Mom's dead. I own the house now. Get the hell out.
There is that option. No, you brought Mom home. No real issues. It's now a couple days after you've been Mom. Nothing too crazy. Maybe just try and get, but you feel, you're used to being in wide open spaces as that great Parisian cowboy that you are.
Like a city slicker living.
Yeah, you feel like you want to get up and get out and move. You know what I mean? Go for a walk, something to that effect.
Sure.
Are you familiar with this neighborhood, or is this all new to you?
Probably it would be new.
Okay.
Yeah.
The houses are nice. You can walk for a number of blocks without really encountering any sort of commercial districts or grocery stores, or like it's a nice neighborhood that they're in. You maybe walk down the block a couple blocks and then turn around and loop back. It is very hot. It's a warm, sort of maybe August day in Boston. So you're working up a pretty good sweat, although you're used to being outside. Decide to turn around, head back towards the house.
I see anybody out? Like, is it one of those neighborhoods or?
Oh yeah, no, there are kids playing in front yards and everything else. It's not, for being an urban area though, it's like, there are only 4 or 5 houses on a block kind of a thing. So it's not like people are crammed together. It's not like there's a lot of traffic. You could walk in the street if you wanted to, kind of a thing. Like there are a few passing cars, but mostly it's well manicured lawns and everything else. As you're getting back towards the house, you're actually on the street opposite your mother's home. You hear a loud crash from the house directly across the street from her. Clearly muffled. It's like inside the home.
Like how far away from the house am I?
The side, 100 feet. Like there's a decent front yard, but not like a massive front yard. Most of the lawn is in the back.
Okay.
So like your mother has a place where like she bird houses and then, topiaries and stuff like that, so it's definitely more like people go home. You got enough room for a driveway to park kind of a thing, but not much more than that. So the house isn't far away from the sidewalk.
I'll just kind of walk along the sidewalk and stay in front of it and try to get a little closer to the noise and keep my ear out.
Yeah, it's almost like You're hearing like odd assorted crashes. It's not a repetitive crash. It's not a mechanical crash, but it's like somebody's just knocking books off of shelves, or like a bunch of hanging pots and pans, just sort of like somebody just clank, 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 or and it's just, it'll pause for a minute and then you'll hear more crashing and thrashing about.
I guess we'll head back into there and ask Mother about her neighbors and see what's up about the house across from her.
As you sort of start to walk away, roll me a spot hidden.
30 under 45.
Okay. You're kind of looking at the house. You know you don't want to be rude, but it does sound like somebody's just tearing shit up in that house, right? There's no car in the driveway. It's the middle of the day. It's a weekday. You don't know anything about the occupants because you're not familiar with the neighborhood. But you don't see, like, no pies cooling on the windowsill, no kids playing in the yard. So, I mean, no lights on in the house, so you presume no one should be in. I want to see something. I don't have the stats for this game. It's shocking. I just read work today. There's stats. Let's do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and have you make a sand roll.
What is my sand? 1 second. All right. 73 over 45.
We'll call it 1. The crashing is muffled enough that you don't think it's coming from the house proper. You can see that there's like a sort of a raised, what do I want to say? The base of the house is raised. Like there's clearly a basement, and there is a basement window, and you're like, something crashing around in there, something in the basement. And as you sort of turn and look, you suddenly see what looks like a human face, a woman's, like pressed up against the glass, like just kind of wide-eyed and shocked. And then it whips back and there's some more crashing from in the basement.
Yeah, I think I'm going to approach in the front yard then and start yelling out, "Madam, you need some help? Madam?"
There's no sound.
Is anybody else out? Anybody else?
Not really. It's people in yards. Maybe somebody mowing the grass or some kids playing baseball, a couple of houses down, but nobody nearby. It's an older neighborhood, but not old.
Yeah, I'm going to go up to the front door then.
Okay.
Bam, bam, bam.
No answer.
Check the handle.
It is locked.
I'm going to call out again. Anybody there? I don't mean to be trespassing, but I saw a woman in the basement. Looks like she was under distress.
You hear no response.
Still banging and crashing noises?
Nope.
No sound?
Nothing.
I'm going to go to that basement window and see if I can peer in there and see anything.
So you kind of in the middle of this yard at like 2:00 in the afternoon. You're sort of bent over on your hands and knees looking in the window.
Yeah.
It does appear that like it's a... It appears to be, I can look at a description later, but it's random tools, bits and bobs, things kind of strewn about.
Workshop or something?
Yeah. It looks like woodshop tools, home supplies, paint. It does look messy, like somebody's kicked some tools around, but you're not seeing any sign of anyone. You feel a little foolish, but you still are pretty sure of what you saw, you think. Maybe.
Interesting. I'm not going to break and enter, so I'll probably head back over to Mother's house and see about contacting the police.
Sure. Do you want to talk to your mother, or are you just going to call the police?
I'll ask her if she knows who lives over there first.
Oh, Bernard Corbitt. Oh, what a lovely man. He's been such a great neighbor.
Does he live there alone?
Oh, yes. He's a long-time widower. I'm pretty sure his wife died, oh my. Oh, it hasn't been 20 years, maybe 15 years ago? Maybe not quite that long. Such a nice man.
So, Mom, there was definitely some commotion over there. There's a lot of crashing and banging around going on, and there was a female in the basement.
I find that hard to believe, son. He is, as he is not exactly he's not going out with any of these dancers or any of these flappers or anything like that. He's a nice, honest businessman. He always brings me such lovely orchids.
When's the last time you saw him?
Oh, it's probably been... Well, I mean, you got to remember, she's only been home a day or two. I say, he usually brings vegetables around about once or twice a week. Lovely man. He saved that poor boy's life a couple of years ago. Did I ever tell you about that story? You look a little flushed, dear. You should get some water. Have you been out walking in this heat? You really should wear a hat. The sun is very bright.
Listen, Ma, I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on over there. I'm going to call the police and have them come check it out.
Okay, if that's what you feel you want to do, but I think they're going to tell you the same thing.
That's fine, but I don't want to be said I didn't do anything.
Okay. Yeah, you can call the police. You give them the address. As you sort of ring them up, and they, you see the cop car actually pulls up across the street. You see the officer step out, and he looks at the house. Are you watching him as he comes up?
Yeah, I might even go outside.
He sort of looks at the house. He turns around and looks at you. He looks back at the house, and then he walks over. Says, Officer Murphy, and he extends his hand. Are you the one that called in the noise complaint?
Yeah, John Clark. Good to meet you.
Mr. Clark. Sorry to hear about your mother.
Yeah, she's in a rough spot, but she's getting on.
And what exactly would you say it is that you saw, Mr. Clark?
Yeah, I was just stretching my legs going down the road here and coming back, and heard a lot of crashing and banging going on inside the house. Caught my attention, obviously, and as I turned my focus towards the house out of the basement window over there, I saw a woman's face pressed up against it for some time, and then it disappeared. My mother told me that there was a gentleman living in the house alone, so...
Yes, Mr. Corbitt. We are familiar, yes.
Yeah,
quite the local philanthropist and businessman.
I don't know if he's got a house sitter or got family visiting him or something, but something was definitely going on in the house.
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. You see, he sort of nods. He says, hey, "Give me a second here," and he sort of takes a cursory walk around the house. You see him kind of poke his head around. There's some shrubbery. Not much of anything. He says, "I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary, Mr. Clark. I'll be back around this evening. I'll talk to Mr. Corbitt myself, but I would let you know he's a charitable man. His family's been in this area in Boston for a long time. I don't know if you've been out in the heat or anything today, but I think the likelihood of anyone being in that house is very slim. Obviously, we appreciate people reaching out if they see things, but no offense, Mr. Clark, I'm not seeing any signs of anything."
Saw and heard.
Right. I'm not seeing any signs of anything.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, officer.
Of course. Do you look for them to come back later that evening to see if the cop actually does? Or do you care at that point?
No, yeah, I'll probably get me a cup of coffee and sit on the front porch and see if they come back.
You do see a cop car come back more like 6:37 in the evening. If you're really watching, you see about 5:30, 6 o'clock or so, you do see a middle to late age, older middle-aged man pull up in a sedan by himself, comes in with a bag of groceries or whatever, goes in, just like people do when they come home. Like I said, the cops show up a little bit later. They knock on the door. The man invites them in. 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, and the door opens again to uproarious laughter. The cops seem to be carrying out like a homemade fruit and vegetable basket or something, shaking hands with Mister Corbitt, kind of laughing, and they hop in their squad car and drive off, and he sort of waves as they go and then steps back in the house and closes the door and turns the porch light off.
Interesting. I'll have to talk to that man tomorrow.
If you will swap with Jeff. Having fun yet, El Jefe?
Yeah, I think I'd like sitting and talking to you.
So, I'm not the only one in the family who likes talking shit. He will be talking shit and working on that bathroom all day long, so if you got nothing better to do, you can come on over.
Now, Lisa's been gone all week. She's going to want to spend time with me.
So, you brought your mother home a few days ago.
From?
The hospital.
Okay.
It's obviously been hectic. You and your brothers are probably fighting a little bit, frustrated with each other, frustrated with the situation. Tensions are high. I don't know how much you've been talking to each other. We'll establish that in a little bit. But it is Sunday evening.
Okay.
Mom's been home for 3 or 4 days. Not feeling great, but feeling up enough that she kind of wanted Sunday dinner with her boys. So the three of you have kind of come together, Sunday roast, sides, the whole nine, table dressed, etc. You had a nice dinner. Everybody sort of sat and talked, made small talk, avoided what nobody wants to talk about,
right.
Just sort of catching up, because even though you've been in the same house for the last several days, you're still running around like crazy people trying to do whatever you can, right?
But everybody's being pleasant.
I'll let them decide what their characters have been doing. The meal was pleasant.
Okay.
You all realized that you needed to be performative for Mom.
Well, yeah, I mean dinner was pleasant.
Dinner was pleasant, yes.
Okay.
You are now washing up. So standing at the kitchen window,
Yep.
cleaning Mom's china. Make me a spot hidden roll.
58 under 60.
Nice. I was asking the other brothers this. Is Barney familiar with the area? Have you visited Mom? Have you been around here, or have you not?
I believe Spencer said that he was local to the area.
Yes, Spencer has decided he's local.
Yeah, I help with the antique stuff, so I would make trips here.
Okay. So you're probably familiar with some of the neighbors and some of the goings-on.
Okay.
So you know some of the neighborhood. You know that mostly it's older folks in this area. Not entirely. There are a couple people with families, but at least in this block of, or in this, sort of half block of 5 or 6 homes, it's predominantly older people. Across the street there is a man by the name of Mister Corbitt. Your brother absolutely loves him. Apparently he loves bringing her flowers and fresh vegetables. Quite a gardener. She talks about him a lot. Would be roughly you boys' age, so you get the sense that maybe he's sort of a substitute good son, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Anyway, you see a sedan pull in. It's about it's getting dark, so we'll say it's 7, 8 o'clock at night. Like it's getting towards twilight, even though it is summer. You know what I mean? Sun's going down. And you see Mr. Corbitt. He hops out of his car, moving kind of quickly. And as you're watching the dishes, because it's kind of happening right in front of you, you see him open his trunk and pull out 2 very sort of oddly shaped packages in like brown paper bags or butcher's paper. You know how the butcher's paper gets tied up, kind of a thing?
Yep.
So they're very odd, lumpy shapes. One would be maybe softball size. The other one looks to be like a table leg or a bat.
Okay.
But he takes both these packages tied up with twine, and he kind of shoves them under his arm, and you see him kind of hurry to the front door. And you see him kind of fumbling with the lock with the awkward packages, and you can tell the packages, they're either heavy or misshapen or odd because he can't keep a hold of them. It's not like a stack of books or something. It's awkward to hold. And you see the longer, more baseball shaped package fall, and it hits the ground. And as it hits the ground, the canvas, the butcher paper, whatever, sort of
splits
a little bit, yeah. And it something kind of rolls across the porch a bit. It appears to be something white and cylindrical. And as you look at it a little more closely, you see what looks to be like a small human arm with a little hand on the end of it. Roll sand.
Sure.
I feel like that's something that...
56 under 65.
No sand loss, because that can't...
That can't be what that is.
That's fucking weird. You see Corbitt sort of... The thing sort of falls, it comes unraveled, the door pops open kind of all at the same moment, and you see Corbitt turn around, like, wide-eyed, and quickly pounces on the package, wraps it back up, and kind of furtively looks to his left and to his right, as if to see if anyone was watching, and then he darts in the house and slams the door shut.
Okay.
Any other action you'd like to take at this exact moment?
I really thought about knocking on the window, but like, hi, Bernard. Yeah. So it looked like clean bone.
No, it was it. I mean, it looked like your mind would probably rationalize it as like a mannequin's arm,
Okay.
or a very large baby doll's arm, but it didn't thunk like plastic when it hit the porch.
Right. He closed up his trunk and everything.
Yeah.
Where's everybody else at this point?
I'm going to bring them back into the scene unless there's anything you'd like to do.
No, go ahead.
Okay. You could call them into the dining room if you, or into the kitchen if you want. Yeah, okay. All right. So, before anyone says anything, it's obviously been stressful. You all have been through a lot. Have any of you talked to each other about anything other than mom and taking care of shit? I don't know what your relationship is amongst you three.
I like the idea of my character and Jeff's character, like actually, like he
Having a connection in the
gets
antiques
the
business.
artifacts for me.
Sure. I just meant in the last few days, as mom has come home and you're all rushing around.
But we at least have a closer relationship. We'd
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
be talking.
Correct. So, just to set the scene, it is now Sunday evening. Okay. Everything that Spencer and I did probably took place on, like, say, maybe Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Everything that Daniel and I talked about took place on Friday. And Jeff, everything you and I did happened just basically right now.
Right.
So if you would like to have informed each other prior to now of anything that's gone on, you can. Otherwise, Barney has basically called you all into the kitchen where he's cleaning up. Mom wanted a nice big Sunday brunch. You guys had a roast. You had the whole nine. You had the sides. Barney's been cleaning up with the dishes, and has called you all in. So what your characters know and what you as players know now needs to all come together however you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I already kind of mentioned to Jeff what happened with mine, because then I was planning on checking on good old Bernard the next day, that Thursday. Is that a possibility?
You could have, yeah, but there was nothing to.
Just paying a friend a call,
Yeah, absolutely.
and so we hang out.
He would
and
have received you absolutely just like normal.
And if I mentioned the odd noises I heard, he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Clue what you're talking about?
Okay. Can conclude the evening, and I don't even think about it. But I had mentioned it to my brothers that I had heard odd noises across the street Wednesday night.
Yeah, I was out for a walk, and I heard a lot of commotion and crashing and stuff from the house, and I saw a female face pressed up against one of the basement windows. I called the cops, and they went over and checked on the house, and nothing. So
The house across the street?
yeah, the Bernard. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I spent time with Bernard, and everything went swimmingly.
Well, after you told me about hearing the sounds of what'd you say it was, digging?
Digging, yeah. Like metal hitting earth.
I'd call you in while I'm doing dishes and be like, it almost just looked like he brought in. He just dropped an arm.
Hmm?
He just got some shit out of his trunk, wrapped in butcher paper, fumbled it as he was trying to get in the house, and it looked like an arm.
Bernard. Good old Bernard.
I don't know about good old.
his arm or someone else's arm.
As it was described to me, about the size of a child's arm.
Well, that's unpleasant.
He was carrying two packages. One was softball sized, and one was long and cylindrical.
I mean, We should talk to Bernard. We know Bernard.
You talked to Bernard.
I did talk to Bernard. I talked to Bernard before the child's arm.
There's something weird going on over there.
He looked pretty startled when he dropped it. He was trying to make sure that nobody saw him.
Well, I have this business with Mother that should be the focus of our
I talked to Mom
attention.
about Bernard as well. She seems to think he's an all right fella.
Yeah.
Has nothing problem. He apparently comes over and brings stuff to her every week or so, every 2 weeks.
Yeah, flowers and fresh vegetables.
Well, if you boys are wary of Bernard and want to pay him a visit, I promised him a nice bottle of 1910 vintage wine. We can bring him over as an excuse.
We can go over and visit. Barney's drying his hands and reaches over and picks up a bat.
Now, would this be a child's arm shaped as a bat?
No.
Or is it...
No, this is... I don't know if Louisville Slugger was...
it could be a
thing
Louisville
then?
Slugger.
Brother, what's your name again?
Barney.
Barney and...
John.
What do you go by? Because we don't call you Sebastian.
What is like a shortened nickname for Sebastian?
I don't know.
Jeb? I don't know.
Jeb.
I say you should call him something totally not related. There was a...
Dick.
Does it call him Dick?
Then I'd be Dick Clark, yeah.
Works for me.
No, it was a... What was it? I saw a TikTok or something like that, and it's like, yeah, it's just like, something about, yeah, I keep getting in trouble with HR, and they're like, why? It's like, well, because I keep calling it's just like, because I keep calling my supervisor Dick, and they're like, well, that is an antiquated name for Richard. It's like, yeah, they have a problem because his name's Alex.
Yeah, brother, I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation. Who knows? Maybe, what time of year is it?
Summer.
Summer. It's like July.
Looking for a Halloween excuse. Can't find one. But I trust Bernard. Let's pay him a visit and maybe
Pops
keep
the
our
bat
eyes
up
open.
on his shoulders like, yeah, I'm sure there's a perfectly legitimate excuse. Let's go.
I'll grab the bottle of
down
wine.
if you guys are.
Are you going over at 9:00 at night or whatever it is?
If Dick is going over, then yes.
Oh, we're going with it. Sure. Yeah. I'm here
You
for
would
it.
find it uncouth to visit at 9:00 on a Sunday night, but you're more than welcome. It's right across the street. You're neighbors.
How much wine did I have to drink? Would I make this choice? Yeah. Yeah, I've had enough wine. Let's
That
do
sounds like a roll, sir.
it. How many? Yeah, no, this is dumb. But I've drank enough. Let's do it.
Sure.
I mean, we can just go peek in the window if you want.
No, I did that.
That was weird.
I didn't say anything when I did, but
I'll pack up the wine and I'll pack up some of whatever dessert was served.
Sure.
And I'll also...
Now, wait, I'm confused. You said brunch. Is this...
Sorry, dinner.
Okay.
It was dinner time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'll eat brunch food
was
at
that
dinner
good.
time. Yeah.
I don't remember saying brunch.
15
Maybe I
courses
did.
later. Yeah. And, just I don't show this to everyone, but Barney's got me a little paranoid, so yeah, I'll grab like a Swiss Army knife. Like that would actually do anything.
I love the fact it's probably definitely something archaeologists would do.
Yeah. Slip it in my back pocket.
Sure.
You want me to hang back, or you want me to go in with you? You seem friendly with him.
Come along with me. I'll introduce John. That'll be our excuse.
Okay.
Works for me.
Yeah, you can go across the street and you find yourself standing on Mister Corbitt's front porch.
I'll hit the knocker.
Yeah. may have had bells at this point. That would have been something probably fancy for a 1920s home.
Yeah.
Expensive 1920s home.
Mechanical still, but yeah.
Right.
That
You see the door open. To give everyone a description of Mr. Corbitt, he looks late middle-aged, thinning brown hair, neatly groomed, somewhat of an attractive man with a kind face. You have always seen him in a business suit, collar, and tie. Always looks very official. But he does sort of seem a bit absent-minded from time to time. Sebastian, what a pleasure. Nice to see you. Barney, hello.
Bernard.
How is your mother doing? I've been meaning to get over there, and I've just been busy with work this week.
Oh, we had a real nice dinner with her tonight.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
She's in good spirits.
Good. That's good. That's good. I know she talks a lot about her 3 boys, and I'm so glad that her boys are here to spend time with her. It means more to her than you can imagine. I've spent several evenings talking to her, and she loves to regale me about all the things that her boys are doing.
Well, Bernard, have you met John?
No, I've not. Pleasure to meet you. And he does step out and shake your hand.
pleasure's all mine. Our mother speaks highly of you. I just want to give you our thanks for being a good neighbor to her for all these years.
Hey,
Of course.
and you know what's better than thanks? A vintage 1910 bottle of wine. Do you have time?
I appreciate the offer, but as I told you the other day, I'm not a big drinker. Contrary, while I am a member of the social club, I tend not to drink much, if ever.
Well, there's always something to suit one's fancy, and I pull out the delicious looking dessert and say, "Well, will this suffice?
Oh,
I brought enough for all of us to have a bite."
Sure. If you gentlemen would like to come in, I'd be happy to chat with you.
We won't take too much of your time.
Oh, no. As I said, I can imagine it is very difficult for the 3 of you boys. So, of course, please come in. You step into not necessarily an identical layout to your mother's house. He's decorated it slightly differently, but again, it is a spacious home. There is sort of a closet to your left as you step in. You walk into like a foyer with sort of a hallway with stairs leading upward. He would take you basically in and to the left where you have a fireplace with a massive front room. He sort of invites you to have a seat, and then he sort of disappears into the back of the house where the kitchen is. Says, "Just 1 minute. I'll get some cutlery and some plates."